Hello, everyone. Welcome to this brand new episode of Beyond the Barclay with me, Jez Davies. I'm, of course, joined with my illustrious co-host, Morgan Hewitt. Hello, Morgan. How are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thank you very much. Just as a reminder to everyone watching, please do like and subscribe on our channel for more great content. And you can also follow us on all of the social media channels, Facebook, Instagram and X. And a massive thank you to our partners, Master Seal and Pi Design. So without further ado, let's introduce today's guest, who I can see is travelling at the moment, Mr. Timm Klose. How are you?
I'm good, thank you very much. Yes, I am traveling. I had a tiny emergency, so I got called up for a game that I have to be on the sideline. So I'm sorry for the background and everything, but I I try to answer as good as possible with the background noise.
No, thank you. And thank you so much for coming on and giving us your time. So perhaps maybe you'd just like to explain where you currently are, not geographically, but obviously what's your role now, and what have you done since obviously stepping out the game?
So I'm currently the head of football at Basel with the academy. So I'm overlooking all the age groups from under 15s to 21s, how they play, how they bring our DNA on the pitch, the FC Basel DNA. So it's also like playing style and organization, bringing players in, releasing players as well. So it's but also talking about the training sessions with coaches, what we could do better in the games, how can we train them better, and it's very interesting. Then on the side, I do have like a company. I started a biotech company as well, who goes into like a therapeutic route with antibiotic resistance plus supplementation route, which is also a bit away from football to keep my brain going. And one last thing is I have a business club that is currently here as well in Basel, and it's nice. It gives different directions. It's interesting. It keeps you on your toes, I would say.
Amazing. No, that's really good. I think if we sort of perhaps sort of jump into some of the questions that we've set you, then if that's okay with you, Morgan. I don't know if you had anything else to add.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, good. So, Tim, if you could just tell us what football team you supported when you were growing up, and perhaps tell us your earliest memory as a fan of that club.
Well, it's easy. I did support Basel, obviously, because I grew up here. I also supported Frankfurt, Eintracht Frankfurt, because I'm half German, half Swiss, and I was born in Frankfurt. I still have some family over there. And Basel is just the other side of my family, and obviously I grew up here, and then there is a massive connection. It's kind of like Norwich. There is only Basel here in the in the city, and then around the city there is only one club, which is quite similar to Norwich, and that's why I supported almost all my life those two teams, and now I'm very happy and honored that I can work for one of the teams as well. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. What would you do, Jez, if you got to work for Norwich City?
I don't know in what capacity I could ever do it, really, but I think it'd be a tremendous honour and a tremendous pride, and I'm sure Tim feels that every day of his working life. So it's great that you've been able to go back to that club, Tim, and give your expertise and your experience from playing professional football in England and the various other countries that you've played in as well. So no, it's really good. And I mean, when you were growing up, what were some of the players that you can remember that perhaps we would know as sort of fans of English club that played for Basel?
Well, growing up, I think I don't know if one of the I can't remember a player from Basel going to the UK actually. I think where the closer I got into the first team, the more players then got through. And I played with the likes of Mohamed Salah, who was there in Basel, Ivan Rakitic, I grew up with. Some other players were Jan Sommer, obviously Granit Xhaka, Xherdan Shaqiri, So this is also like my generation. We came through the ranks together, and then obviously we made that jump possible for more Swiss players to get into like the English league as well, especially getting on the radar as well, which was good because I think when I grew up, it was basically Stefan Anchamp at Liverpool, which had like a big impact in the English game as a Swiss player. And other than that, there were not too many. Maybe Mladen Petric. But yeah, I think that's more or less that's it. And now we can see a lot of Swiss players, getting over there, getting on the island in the biggest, I would say stay on the biggest stage in the world, and that's obviously it's fantastic.
Yeah. So what's one of your fondest memories of being let's concentrate on Basel because that's where you're at right now, right? So
Yeah.
What's one of your fondest memories of being a Basel fan?
Oh, thinking back, I think my father was president of like a local business, local football club, and then while they were like building the new stadium, the Basel came and played in our stadium, and obviously I was at every game. I watched every game. When I was very young, I went to the old stadium as well to watch some games there. But obviously I was too small to like remember the players. I just remember the stadium, the atmosphere and everything. And it was later only that I started to follow players, that I wanted to know who is who plays which position, and then all of a sudden you had like players like Murat Yakin or other like big figures, Marco Strello, Alex Frey, who came through the ranks, and then you started to follow them because they were like your idols, because they went from Basel then out into like the Bundesliga or elsewhere.
Good answer.
Excellent.
So should we move on to question 2?
Go for it.
Because I think that leads is quite nice. So growing up then, I imagine you idolised these players, but what made you want to become a professional footballer? And also, I know, but it's our job. But also, why centre back?
Centre back was actually quite late in my playing career. I had no like idol to like go after, or I thought like because of this play I want to become a football player. It was more just the love and the fun for the game. I think I enjoyed playing football so much with my friends. I had so much fun to just go outside. I had the game on a Saturday, and then on a Sunday I woke up at 8, went out at 9, and came back at 6 in the evening, just because of the love for the game. And I think that's why I also started then believing that one day, if possible, I would love to become a professional football player. But obviously your parents are in the background, and they know how hard it is, or how hard it could be to be a professional, because let's be honest, maybe 1 out of a million makes it. And it's tough, and so that's why my parents always said like you need to finish school first before you can like proceed and then go after your dream, because then you have like a safety net if something would happen. So in that case, I think I started to believe very early that I could become a professional football player, but like as I said, I was a striker, winger kind of player until I was like 17.
Okay.
And then with 17, I decided that, striker and winger is too much running. So I want to go somewhere where I have to run less. And I thought like centre back is a good position. And then I started to play centre back, and I had a lot of like good coaches as well who pushed me, and because maybe I had this like idea how strikers would run, how wingers would act in certain situations, I got the feeling, and also the passion for defending. I love to defend, and I love to hurt people. It sounds weird, but on the pitch only. Um, so that's why also I got that passion for like playing in defense. And then from there on, it was like when I was 18, 19, it was pretty fast actually. And then I signed my first contract, and from there on, it was a roller coaster going up and down and left and right, which was fantastic. But yeah, I never thought I'm going to make it actually.
So what was the timeline like between, obviously, you signing your first professional contract, and then what was your journey then leading up to you signing for Norwich? What sort of clubs did you play for? Any sort of stories along the way, I guess?
Well, I am sorry, guys. I'm at the border now, so I can get kicked out.
So just before we had a bit of a interruption there, just because Tim was a first for Beyond the Barclay crossing an international border, which is absolutely superb. Tim, so the question I asked you before that happened was, so when you first signed your professional contract to when you signed for Norwich, what was that journey like in between, and any funny stories from that time?
Well, I signed here with FC Basel the contract, obviously, and then I was one of 6 centre backs, and then I recognized quite early that it would be tough to play for the first team, so I decided to move to the second division here in Switzerland, where there was a coach called Murat Yakin. He was a famous centre back as well for Switzerland, and that was, for me, it was one of the best decisions I made, because I went there and he supported me, and then from there I played every game, and then from that small club in the second division we got promotion. We played 1 year first division, and then I went to the Bundesliga for Nuremberg. From there I played 2.5 years there, and then I moved to Wolfsburg, which was fantastic for my playing career, because it brought me, it gave me the opportunity to step up. I had obviously players like Kevin De Bruyne, Ivan Perisic, Gustavo, and so on. Players like next to me, where I knew exactly that this will elevate my game as well. And then I stayed there for like 2.5 years, won a few things with Wolfsburg, and then I decided that I could stay there in that like safe haven, or I searched for a new challenge. And then Norwich came in along some other teams, and I thought, like, go and check out all the cities, and then look at cities, and then you can make a decision based on what adventure you think is something you would like. And I don't know, I was always after like something like hard, not too easy, something that I know that I could have an impact, maybe, or maybe help. That I always wanted to connect club to the fans, with like my playing style, or and bringing, like, I always said, like, I don't know if you guys remember, but I was always talking about the boat and rowing into the same direction. That was one of my catchphrases in all the interviews when I was in the UK. So, but that never changed. And I even now that I'm back with the youth in the academy, I still try to bring them all into like one boat, going into the same direction, and trying to achieve like goals that we set ourselves. And I mean, Norwich for me, I think it was 6 or 7 years in the end, then Norwich, and with all the ups and downs. But for me, Norwich has become like almost like a second home, and I love the club. It's now that I grew up with those two, Frankfurt and Basel, and now I always for Norwich, and always try to, if possible, watch a game, and this connection to a club was different.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Beyond the Barclay. As you can see, Tim has now moved from the coach in the middle of France to a more house environment, shall we say. Well, welcome back, Tim.
Hello. Hi.
How you doing, Tim? You okay?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, thank you very much. Obviously,
I like your
last
glasses.
time on the coach, it wasn't the best of surroundings, but I think now I found a quiet place to talk to you guys.
Fantastic. So just before we finished a couple of days ago, we were sort of talking about your journey between when you started your career to when you signed for Norwich. So, I mean, when you did arrive at Norwich, it was before Colney, the training ground, had a massive overhaul. So perhaps you could talk to us a little bit about A, why you decided to join Norwich, and B, that sort of that journey from where the training ground was when you signed to what it is today.
Well, one of the reasons I signed for Norwich was because it was quite similar to FC Basel and how FC Basel was set up when I was young. I always had that feeling of like, this is a club where a lot of people are connected to, and it's like, you know, you have this feeling of your home. And especially when I had the chat with like the coach back then, with Alex Neil and the guys around the club plus Delia, I felt like that was the right place to go, especially for my family and I. And then afterwards, obviously, I arrived at the training ground, which was, at the time, I would say it was a bit like old-fashioned, like the old English, like dressing rooms with the brick walls everywhere, and which I quite like actually. It gives you that like English touch, I would say, and I'm happy that they did not lose that touch. But now, obviously, they extended the whole thing to like a more professional environment where players can not only develop on the pitch, also off the pitch. They have like a 360, how you want to call it, like a room where you can practice your football abilities, where you can, like you can swim. There is a pool area now. The academy has like a bit better building, and these are some things that I think are necessary to develop the club as well. And I think Norwich now is in a good position to, attack again, to go for that like Premier League spot again, to get out of the Championship, and then, get themselves into like those, let's say 25 teams in the UK who are more or less always in and around the Premier League. I think that would be a good goal. And then once you're in that group, then you can go for like, okay, now we want to be in the top 20 or the top 15, and this is how you can build, because I think with the fan base they have, it is possible. It's just a question of obviously investment and the right decisions.
Yeah, I mean, I think the reason why I wrote about, asking you why you joined Norwich, because I think in the past the training ground had been a bit of a sticking point for certain players deciding whether they wanted to play for Norwich or not, because it wasn't, as you say, it was quite old school. But I mean, if I think when, and I'm not going to blow smoke up your ass, but when you were close to signing in that January transfer window, I think everyone was, well, we were all very excited. I know for one I was, but equally surprised, because we were, obviously we read about in the local media about your footballing ability, your background, everything. We were crying out for a cultured centre back at the time, and you came in. And I think a lot of fans were quite surprised that you decided to go for Norwich, given that maybe our facilities at that time weren't great. But what you're sort of saying is, you first and foremost, you liked the community spirit, and that's what kind of got you over the line effectively. Is that fair to say?
Also, like I drove, I was there for like 2 days or 1 day. I think I came back from my holidays, and then I said to my agent that I want to see the stadium, the training ground, and I want to see the city as well. And then with Phil, who was the team manager at the time, I did like a tour, and and we looked at the city, and obviously it's different to everything I've been to before. I think, as you mentioned, the training ground wasn't as nice as the one we had at Wolfsburg. It was just because we had everything there at Wolfsburg, and then but I don't know, like I had that feeling again wherever I drove with Phil, there was like a Norwich sign, or like people were walking around with a shirt, and or you saw like these little things, like little icons, or I don't know, a symbol on a chain or somewhere, and I think that was in the end why it tipped me over. Just of that, like this feeling of, oh, I can create something here, I can feel home here. And London, if I need something, I can go to London. It's 2 hours away by train. So for me, it was, in the end, it was more the adventure, that feeling of like, can I create something? And I knew exactly that I could have stayed at Wolfsburg, which would have been the easy decision, or could have signed for another club in Spain as well at the time. But I decided on purpose, like, to go for like the I don't want to say the harder decision, but like maybe the bumpier road, I would say, maybe, which in the end,
bigger challenge.
Yeah, maybe bigger challenge as well. But in the end, I think it was the right decision. And now that I can look back at like these 6-7 years I had in Norwich, it was just fantastic. Not only for me, for my family as well, for myself as well, to grow as a person, and get that connection to the city, to a city, to a fan base, to everyone. And that's why I always felt privileged, and that's why I always had like these rounds at the end of the games. I always felt like I have to go around and say thank you to everyone, and like make everyone feel like we're in this together.
Yeah, I mean, it's one. You strike. We sort of mentioned it before, but you are one of the cult hero players. Sorry, that of our generation, for sure. And I think that the way you held yourself, in terms of, you went through a lot of, and it will lead nicely on to the next question, but the way you held yourself, and how you conducted your personality with the fan base, I think, has always held you in good stead. And you'll always have a home in Norwich, mate. We'll always buy you a beer, buddy, when we see you. But I think it leads nicely into just you telling us about that transition period from Alex Neil to Daniel Farke. I think both in terms of tactics, training, day-to-day life, what were the most memorable changes for you?
I think, when I arrived, we had like I would say an English training schedule. And then when Farke came in, we went back to like that German training schedule, which is a bit harder. You train more, you're out there longer, and you will invest more into like a lot of things. And I think that was one of the biggest change we had. Obviously, we knew that when Daniel came in, I knew him from Germany, so we had a good chat, and then he told me like he needs me to help him as well to form the team and to get them into the right direction, because I was on, as like my time at Norwich was like filled with ups and downs, with injuries, and I would have loved to play even more games, but like especially that, let's say, the Premier League season where I got like back from a knee injury, and then first game at Crawley and re-injured myself for like long term, then that was like mentally very tough for me, especially because I felt like I needed to help the club to stay in the Premier League, because I couldn't help the club the first time in the Premier League. So that was like me giving myself the pressure of helping the club, but also because I had that connection to the club. And then when we got relegated in the end, I came back from an injury which was normally should have been 9 months. I came back after 6 because I said like I need to go out there and play. Farke was just important because he always said to me, like, just go out and play your game, and don't worry if you make mistakes. And that gave me that like confidence to go and step on the pitch and be myself, be the best version that I can be, and help everyone around me as well. And I think that's why let's say Ben Godfrey, Emi Buendia, James Maddison, was able to take them aside, talk to them a lot, and make sure that I can maybe help them as well to grow a little bit into like these players that they are now. And if it's just 1 or 2% that we were able to help them, I think we did a good job.
Yeah,
I think 100% you did, and I think, sorry to interrupt, I think 100% you did. I think you talk a lot about obviously how the training changed, but would you say there was a culture shift as well within the club during that time?
For the English player, it was tough. Yeah, I mean, like coming from like 1 session a day, go into like 2 sessions a day, and then food-wise, we had to change a few things. We got measured frequently, like body fat and like what we eat, and body weight as well. I think that was all very professional. We had to do more in the gym, like IP work, which is injury prevention stuff that wasn't there during the Alex Neil time. But I mean, coming back, I loved it how he was under Alex Neil as well. I think he was a good coach. I think it was just in the end what killed him a little bit was his man management, because like just looking just facts and outside on the pitch, I think he did a good job. It was just in the end he lost a lot of the players because he did not speak well enough with us. No,
that's fair. I know it's a fair shout. And I mean, I always remember a game, and I can't remember if you were involved, Tim, and it was Newcastle away, where I think we were either winning 2-1 or 3-2. Then we conceded 2 goals very quickly towards the end of the game, and we lost 4-3. And it was at St James's Park I'm pretty sure it was in the Championship. I don't know if you were involved or not, but that always stuck to me as a bit of a turning point for Alex Neil. That after that game, it then and I wouldn't expect you to to divulge sort of information that was within that sort of changing room at that time. But for me, that felt like a really crucial moment for Alex Neil's Norwich career, where it kind of shifted.
No, I mean, it was tough towards the end because obviously we wanted to get out of the Championship, and we had a good squad. I think we had one of the best squads there was in the Championship to actually get out of it. But for some reason we couldn't. I think it was down to us players as well, because like some of us, like we had the feeling that maybe the Championship is not the level we wanted to play, so we want to go back to like Premier League, Bundesliga, or French League, or wherever you want to go to also stay in the focus of the national team. And that's why I think we struggled so much in that season or in that year. And then you can blame a coach, but that's too easy for me. I think it's too easy if we always like blame a coach for something that maybe us players could have prevented as well.
Definitely, Morgan.
Isn't this your question, mate?
It is. Yep. Apologies. So Tim, I mean, perhaps you mentioned a couple of them already, but perhaps talk to us about during the Daniel Farke era. Was there any players that stood out for you as talented or perhaps a little bit more motivated to perform, I guess?
No, we had. I mean, during my Norwich time, I think I came across a lot of good players. I mean, when I arrived with Robbie Brady, I think even Naismith when he came, these were all good players. And then I mean, afterwards we had to go with like very young players. James Maddison then went on loan as well, and then he came back, and I was happy that with Daniel he had the coach that believed him in and like told him as well to just go out and play his game, which was fantastic. So
along the way, even Marcus Edwards, I remember him being in Norwich for a short period of time.
Yeah, I remember.
Even how talented he was. But in the end, you can have a lot of talent, but if you're not willing to work, or if your mindset is not at the right place, then it's tough to get through to the next stage of your career. And I think especially with Marcus, it was very tough, because I think he was mentally not ready. And then all of a sudden he opened up that I don't know, button, or he switched the button, and then all of a sudden he performed. And then what he did at Sporting, especially, I think that was unreal. And same with Madders. I mean, he all of a sudden had the confidence as well to go out and play his game. The same with Ben Buendia. Even like a Max Aarons and Jamal Lewis, like these players, they came through our ranks up into the first team, and we tried to, create an environment where they felt comfortable, but they were also secure. So that if there is anything, I remember a game at Millwall where Max got a lot of stick of the fans, and I went to see him and I said, do you want me to go to the ref and call it a day? Because I think that was necessary at times where it was just important that our older generation or our older players stood up for the young players, that they knew that they always can go out and play their own game.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned in part one of this, you sort of mentioned the boat analogy. Just talk to us a little bit more about that analogy, because I really like it. I think it's a really good it's a really strong vision.
Yeah,
but it's now, I mean, it's the same now. I'm doing the pro license now with the UEFA Pro license with the FA, and obviously a lot of coaches I talk to. It's very interesting, the chats we have, the conversations we have, and now that I can apply them to my team or to the teams that I help with the FC Basel, I always tell them the same thing, that if you row into one direction, imagine you're in the boat and you row into that one direction. If one player rows in a different rhythm or in a different direction, you're gonna be in a circle. Yeah. And then this is not how you're going to progress, and this is not how you get forward with things. And that's why I think it's important that you row in the same rhythm into the same direction. And then you will have maybe one or two players sometimes that they lose the rhythm or something like this, but you will catch them. And then as soon as if they know that there is a strong foundation and the strong rhythm and the strong path, I think that it's easier for them to catch the rhythm again. Yeah. Let's say, for example, we have players now that are undisciplined, or they do something that, I don't know, they're late for a meeting or something like this. And then the good thing now is that I know exactly how to get them back in, because obviously you need to talk to them a bit differently than back in the days when I was a young player. I think the way we have to talk to the new generation is also different than how it was when I came through the ranks. And this is the nice challenge. And this is why I think this bold, how do you call it? This bold analogy is something you can take into a lot of things. And
yeah, agreed.
And they will understand it. I think you need to make it as simple as possible for them as well to understand.
Yeah. It's like Farke had the whole showing them the door, as in the entry way, and you've got to be the one to walk through it. Yeah. I love that. I love all those analogies. I think they're really good. And like you said, you can apply that to day-to-day jobs for all five of our viewers watching this. It's day-to-day stuff. And I just think it's brilliant. It's strange, Jez, if you remember, the local press found it a bit, they couldn't quite get their heads around it, and it was sort of bring it up all the time. And it's like, guys, come on, it's obvious what he's talking about, but anyway, I get a really juicy question now, Tim.
Yeah, Yeah, you get the best one of the lot.
Apparently, I don't know if this is true, but you scored one of the hottest headed goals of all time at Carrow Road. Is that true? I don't know if you remember it. Can you tell us a bit more about that experience?
Against Newcastle or at home? Or... No, what can I tell you about it? I think at the time I did not think that we could actually come back from a goal we conceded in the 88th minute, I think. And this is where I said to a lot of the players, like, just bring the ball to my head, I will be there. And funny enough, like, Maddis was all of a sudden centre back or playing like full back, playing a long ball to me and Grant Hanley, who were all of a sudden striker. And then I was just like, I was glad that Grant was so fast that he could reach that ball. And then afterwards, I just said to myself, like, as soon as that ball comes into the middle, I'm gonna fucking score. Oh, sorry for the
That's fine.
I need to score that goal.
Yeah.
And then obviously it came into my direction. I was like, yeah, this guy is not gonna win that one. I'm gonna head it in. And the thing was that I saw the goalkeeper running across, and I was like, if I head it into his path now, he will save it. So I need to bring it to the left side. So it's further away, so he has no chance to save it. And I think just the determination and the pure will, and then the idea I had in my head, I was lucky that it worked out. and all the rest is history. I think it was fantastic how we celebrated it. I think it was fantastic how, I think that was a turning point for us as well, actually. To reconnect with the fan base, I think, because the season was, as I said, I think that season was, it was just, I don't know, not really, we were not getting into a right direction that season. We were like in and out, and then all of a sudden we were like, I think we finished 12th as well.
I think, sorry,
that game was decisive for which direction. Even for Daniel Farke, I think it was decisive. And then afterwards, I mean, we had a good chat afterwards. Daniel and I, we had a very long discussion afterwards. And then I think we planned something for the year after. I think we had an idea of how we wanted it to approach the next year. And then I was happy that it was as successful as it was, yeah.
I mean,
sorry, Bob, carry on.
What I don't understand to this very day is how Grant Hanley managed to keep the ball on the pitch and spin on a sixpence, like turn on a six. We have that saying, turn on a sixpence, in that way. And you're telling me all this stuff about what you had in your head. Surely that's a split second. You have all of that come into your head in what, half a second? How do you do it?
I don't know. It's an instinct, I think.
Yeah.
I knew that if I saw Grant running, and I knew that Grant was the fastest player in the squad, like no joke, he was the fastest player. So I think him and Ben, I think our two centre backs were the fastest two players, which is it's funny, but it's true. And then as soon as I saw him running towards the ball, I was like, he's going to get that one. So I had to make that decision to run back into like the box, 16-yard box, because I just thought, like, if the ball comes in, I don't know how, I just need to attack it. And it happens in a split second, but I mean, this is pure instinct then in the end, to be there, right time, right place. My nose also helps. Maybe I smelled it. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. Actually, it's just one of those things that I'm very happy that it worked out. Otherwise, it would have been like a very long end towards the season.
Yeah, I mean, just on that. Sorry, Jez. I know I keep interjecting.
No,
I'm just fascinated by it because I love these, and we've got another sliding doors question for you in a bit. but those moments that just change everything, like how it affects. Because if you think about it, with Ipswich, it also signalled almost their demise back into League One, because after that game, the fans properly gave Mick McCarthy, like, had enough. And so Mick McCarthy left, and then obviously they got in Paul Lambert, and we know what happened there. But it's, if you hadn't have scored that goal, then I don't know if Norwich finds itself where it is now. And I know that sounds maybe that's crazy talk, but I just think it's just moments like that which completely changed the trajectory of history. And that is, I just love stuff like that. I think it's absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, I think it was a good time to score that goal. Actually, I think
it's weird because your polar opposite for Ipswich scored their goal, didn't he, Luke Chambers?
I mean, if you look at the situation, it was a foul anyway. So it was just, it was probably Karma hitting back. But when you actually look at the situation or the scene, it was a foul. But again, I think that game was us playing the game, and we were like going for it, and we tried to win that game. It was just, we knew that they can only score via like a corner kick or something like this, or a set piece. And when they did it, it was just bad timing for us, because I thought like we were really on the front foot. Again, I think it spoke a lot about the team as well to come back after that, and it spoke as well, how we celebrated the goal, and me not knowing where to look, because there were so many things going on that I had no idea where to look, actually. Like a fan like jumped to left, to right, and then one guy chucked his beer into another guy, and all of a sudden I turned around, and then Teddy was in front of me. So it was just, I think it bonded us even closer. We were already close, but I think like situations like this, obviously, they bond, and then from that moment on, I knew that we're moving into like the right direction. It just took us a bit longer.
My interjection, Morgan, was going to literally be about the East Anglian derby and players that aren't from the area. What is their understanding of that, and how would you prepare any differently to that game leading up to it, Tim, knowing that it was a local derby as such? I guess that's the question, really.
No, I think my goal was to, I don't know, I went into the game and I knew that there was pressure, and I knew that there were, even like the game we had at their place. And for me, it was more or less to, I was thinking about how can I take the pressure off the young players, and how can I put it on myself, and but also like look very relaxed at the same time. And I think it worked out pretty well. I think, our youngsters, they performed very well. They had a very good game, all of them, as much as I can recall. And again, this is also like and also Daniel, I think he took a lot of the pressure off as well, in the way he was talking in the press conference. I remember the press conference, and I think that was just him as a person that speaks a lot. I think because he's just, he's I don't know, he knew exactly when to take the pressure off and when to put the pressure on, and this is probably why we had such a good connection, Daniel and I, and because we knew exactly how to help everyone to get the best out of it, and he helped me actually even more to develop this ability.
That's brilliant. I'm going to jump forward a question, if that's all right, Morgan. I'm just conscious of Tim's time. Obviously, you appeared as a player of culture. So tell us perhaps a little bit more about those travels that you went on, and what's been your favourite experience along the way.
Or throughout my whole career, or just Norwich?
I mean, you can give one of each if you like.
You know, when I left Basel, I think it's probably the same. When you grow up in Norwich, you almost have the feeling that like there is nothing else than Norwich.
Mm.
And I have that same feeling. I had like, you know, when I left Basel as a young player, I thought like, you know, I could never feel home anywhere else than in Basel. And the funny thing is that every time I came back after a long period of being away, it was still the same. So, you know, you had always that feeling like, you know, I know exactly when I'm back home, it's going to be the same again. And this is my safe haven. And I know it sounds ridiculous, but I think
No, it doesn't.
for a lot of people, that's Norwich as well, because this is also why. So I ask myself, why would you not put like a train from London to Norwich that like only takes an hour? Because it's possible. Like it's 100% possible. But I think that speaks volumes about Norwich as well, of being like this. We want to be a little bit further out of London. We don't want to get dragged into this like hectic lifestyle, kind of like we need to work to achieve, to do and stuff like this. And I almost had the feeling that like everywhere in Norwich or even Norfolk, you know, wherever we went to see friends then and you know, their houses and going to the Broads or going to the coast, wherever we went there, it took a lot of so much like stress, and it was almost like a relief of like time. You know, when we watched some seals at the beach, we were like, I took my family every time my family was over there. I took them to see the seals, and I was like, oh, it calms you down, and it takes a lot of like the time away. You know, you like where you go, you're not constantly doing this, you know, like this and this. And I think London and especially like Birmingham, Manchester, like these big cities, they give you that feeling of there is always something to do. Like you always have something to do. And I think Norwich took that a bit away. And I had that feeling in Wolfsburg as well. In Nuremberg, it was a bit different because it was a big city and it was my first destination away from home. So I couldn't quite release, I would say, myself as well. And I think Wolfsburg afterwards was different because we were far away from everything, and it's a little city, and you have the VW company there and the factory, which is big, and nothing else actually. We were like I always say we were the modern gladiators for the VW workers, because I had the feeling that sometimes that was the case, but. And then coming into Norwich, it gave me that feeling of like I'm back in Basel, where even now I still have like so many friends back there in Norwich, and I talked to one friend. I had a Pilates, so I had a Pilates teacher. She lives in Coltishall, and she still works for the club as well, actually, and I see her every week. So we do sessions every week still, because I feel like, and it's funny because she goes like, you know, I'm not going to charge you or anything anymore because it's just, you know, the connection. And she had my wife to become a Pilates teacher as well. And I think connections are just like gold. It's that gold dust, you know, that you are looking for in life.
Yeah. Did you ever get to the castle when you were in playing for Norwich? You did. Did you go when it was like as it was before? Because it's changed now, and this is a plug for.
I heard. Yeah, I know. I mean, I've been to almost everything in and around Norwich because I love history.
Yeah,
same. Funny enough, that a friend of mine once told me that I might be. He might be a bit crazy as well. He said like Adolf Hitler bought himself a house somewhere, you know, to get away from everything, and it was in Norfolk. It was like a summer house, but because he fell in love with a woman from Norfolk.
Right.
So I'm not sure how right he was, but then I was obviously driving down the coast and I tried to find that summer house. And, you know, along the way, I stumbled over the Ingham Swan. I ate it was delicious food there. It's just one of the restaurants, a tip of mine, actually. But there was like a coffee. I can't remember where it was. It was like Poppy, what was it called? Poppy Coffee or something like this. And he had a lot of Second World War stuff in the coffee. And it was like, you know, like a little bit old fashioned and, you know, a tea house. And then we, you know, with like clotted cream and scones. And yeah, it was fantastic.
I think it's near Haysborough.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So we went in there and then he started to talk about the same thing. And then I was like, oh, all right, so you can tell me a bit more. And so we had a massive discussion about everything, and he explained it to me, and then he came up with, like, because he was an older man, and then he came up with like this book of the history, and he showed me pictures of his like house, and this is that's just another thing I think I call gold dust. And it's just one of the things. And then obviously with Galton as well, who has like a restaurant a little bit outside. I mean, you know, these people, I still have a bit connection to them, and feel like I could, if I come back to Norwich, which I will do pretty soon, you know, I can go there and it would be like I'm there again 5-6 years ago. I don't know when I left, actually.
Yeah,
I think the Hitler fact for me, Morgan, is the one I always hear is if he had been successful and obviously conquered England, his victory speech would have been at City Hall in Norwich, because he really liked the building. He really liked the building.
That's from Alan Partridge, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I think it is actually. Yeah.
Oh, it's in the Bridewell Museum. It's also in the Bridewell Museum. So another plug for Norwich Museum, Bridewell Museum. We're going to be.
You're plugging all these museums, Tim. The big question is, what's your favourite fish and chip shop in Norfolk?
Oh, I have to go with Cromer number 1.
No.
Yes.
Only because his mate owns it.
The owner is a very good friend of mine.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that's fun.
No, he's I had some very good times in there, and then I took some friends over there as well. Yeah, it was it was nice. It's nice.
I'm not dissing any fish and chip shop. I just don't want you to win, Jez.
I know. I mean, me, just to fill you in it.
Which one is your favorite?
Mary Jane's, which is around the corner. But me and Morgan, obviously, we disagree. He likes number 1. I like Mary Jane's. So there
is a Greek restaurant down the road as well, which is not too bad, actually.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Excellent. I think obviously if we move to the final question then, Morgan, but Tim, before we let you go after that final question, there is a random question of the week. So just to pre-warn you. So Morgan, I'll hand you over for the last question.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's next? What's next for Timmy K, and anything upcoming that's exciting that you want to plug?
I don't know. First of all, I want to, finish the UEFA Pro license. Obviously, the course I'm currently in with the FA, which is fantastic to be in, and I did study sports management on the side while I was at Norwich, which I finished then, and I think it just gives me a lot of good, strong background to open the doors, if possible. I would love to go maybe into coaching, but on the other hand, I do have a biotech company which is starting to take off a little bit as well, which is fantastic. And that this is where we go into like two routes with like antibiotic resistance and like supplementation. So this is also something that throughout my career, I always felt like the supplementations wasn't as good as I wished, especially for my stomach and my body. This is why I started to go into this direction as well. But I don't know, I have something with my mom going on, a business club. So I like to be this like entrepreneur, I would call it maybe. But my heart is in football, and I would love to coach a first team. I don't know, in the near future maybe, but as it stands, the position that I'm in currently with the academy is fantastic, because it gives me everything. I can do sessions. I think I can do games. I can do one-on-one conversation with the players, like everything you need for a coach. But then on the other side, I also see like a bit the background of the game. So how does that work? How you can talk to players about contracts, how you need to be aware of certain things, how do you organize. So I think at the moment I'm quite happy with where I am, because it gives me a lot. I'm like a Hoover at the moment. I'm just trying to make sure that I take in as much as I can, to make sure that I learn and grow as a person, and maybe one day that also gives me the strength to be a good coach.
No, fair play. I think it's funny, isn't it, Morgan? Because we chatted to another former Norwich player, Gary Holt, a few months ago, and he was nicknamed Free Lungs during his Norwich career. Tim,
I know.
You obviously probably know him from when he was with Alex Neil. But he was, one of his points was that he always said that he really appreciated and respected people like yourself that would go and actually learn their trade in an academy. Do everything that, as you say, learn absolutely everything, like a sponge, like a Hoover, and then go into the game, rather than there is some ex-professionals that just go straight into it. Haven't had any of that kind of foundation. Thank you. Absolutely fair play to you, and best of luck with everything. I hope it all goes really. We may even see you back at Carrow Road in the dugout at some point, hopefully.
We don't know. Yeah, but I mean, like, obviously that would have been, if that happens, that would be crazy. But if I don't know if they would call me and ask me this, I do not need to think twice, obviously.
Yeah. Bring Alex Tessie in as your number 2. There we go.
Heroes returned.
Yeah. Okay, Morgan, it's time.
Okay,
it's time.
All right, Tim. There's a whole thing that goes with this.
He has to turn his chair around.
Random question of the week. Right. So, Timm Klose, obviously TK is your initials, and in the UK we have TK Maxx. TK Maxx is famous for its homeware. So what item of homeware or houseware could you not go without?
Oh my goodness. I don't know how you call it. It's the Thermomix. I don't know how you call it in the UK. It's like I think it's a bean. It's like a machine that cooks like that helps cooking.
Say that again, sir.
I don't know how you call this stuff.
Is it an air fryer?
No, it's not an air fryer. Wait. I have it here.
Excellent.
It's the good thing of being back in my house. So it's a machine. So it looks like this.
I don't know what is. Have you ever seen one of them before, Morgan? What does it do?
So you can, so sometimes when you're like in a hurry, or you don't know, like if you want to do your own bread, you want to do your own ice cream, you want to do your own, I don't know what, pizza dough or whatever, this machine will do the dough. This machine will do the ice cream. This machine will do the tiramisu for you. This machine will do the rice if you need rice. And because I don't want to cook rice while I'm doing my meat. You know what I mean? I want to concentrate on my meat. So I want to make sure that the rice is good and perfect, or like a good soup, or like. And this machine is. This is it, guys. This is it.
I just got visions of you being on a shopping channel, Tim. Like trying to sell this.
Yes.
I'm telling you, if you would go into a restaurant or like with a Michelin star or even not Michelin star, and you would ask them for this machine,
Wow,
I will guarantee you guys they will have one of these machines, if not two.
No, amazing. I don't think I've ever seen. I've heard of obviously, I used to have a bread maker, and it's quite a similar concept. So you put all your stuff in, then it makes the bread for you, proves it, and all of that. But not to the extent where it's making ice cream and doing your rice for you and everything else. That's amazing. Need to get myself one of them.
Well, now you know.
It's nice.
Yeah. Jez, what about you?
Well, if we're talking kitchen, air fryer. It's been a revelation, absolute revelation for me. You can cook stuff a lot.
What's been your favourite thing that you've cooked in it?
Ooh. Do you know, I've done some pork chops last night with some nice seasoning, and it just cooks really nicely. Makes the meat nice and tender, and and you can, as Tim said, you can just get on with doing other bits and pieces in the kitchen whilst it's all happening. So yeah, I'd say the air fryer, which was actually Fiona's Christmas present, but I use it religiously. So
it wasn't her Christmas present. You just bought it for yourself, didn't you? And pretended
she asked for an air fryer for Christmas. This is my partner, Tim. She asked for an air fryer for Christmas. For Christmas. So, what would be yours, Morgan?
The humble measuring jug, because you always. I mean, it's like a stalwart of the kitchenware department, isn't it? You can't really do very much without it. Like, it's plastic or Pyrex.
I'm just telling you, this thing has an integrated scale in there as well. So
you need to go on.
You want to buy one? I know the no, joking.
Yeah. I think we should just put a link on this later. Like, if anyone wants to buy this machine, please. We might make some money out of it. Brilliant. No, I'm joking, of course. Tim, thank you so much for coming on and talking to us. It's been an absolute pleasure getting to hear more about your time with us at Norwich and your career. It's been great. Thank you, and best of luck with everything for the future.
Thank you for having me. Obviously, thank you for having me. Yes.
No, it's been great. And then, did you say you're back in Norwich in a few weeks as well? Are you?
Yeah, fairly soon. Yeah, I was. I wanted to bring one of my kids over there to experience the atmosphere at Carrow Road. Yes.
Nice.
I'm sure you'll be very welcome. Morgan, anything else from you before we?
No.
Oh, good.
I've got to go make some lunch now. So
you could use Tim's machine.
Yeah.
Get yourself down to Argos, mate. Go and get yourself one. If it still exists in Durham. Anyway, thanks everyone else for watching. I've been sorry, before I say that, if you would like to like and subscribe on our channel for more great content, please do. Please also follow us on Facebook, Instagram and X for updates. We are proudly supported by Master Seal and Pie Design. Thanks everyone, and goodbye. I've been Jez Davies.
I've been Morgan Hewitt.
And I'm Timm Klose.
Bye, everyone. That's all for this episode of Beyond the Barclay. Thanks for listening and supporting the podcast. If you enjoyed it, be sure to follow, leave a review, and share it with fellow Norwich City fans. We'll be back soon with more insight and discussion from around Carrow Road. Until then, on the Ball City.